Okay, 1503. Good luck. We get white for this one. So knight f3 as per usual. Goes d5. 3,000 games for opponent. Very good. Let's play this slightly more modern version. e3 first and then c4. Now we can still do c4. We can just block immediately. I think I'll just play c4 because we can take back here if he chooses to take, and we can take here if he chooses to take. If he pushes, we can maybe just take. Okay, I'm just going to take that pawn. Now I'm just going to play bishop up and break this pin now. There is a check, and he can block it two ways. You could throw that in more, maybe in a bullet game, for instance, to hit the bishop. It possibly won't see it if you played him like that, but I'm not going to play it in a slow rapid game. Yeah, he had obviously seen it and he's retreated, so we'll just castle, but that type of thing, you play it more in a bullet game. In a slow rapid game, I'm not trying to win games cheesily like that, so we just want a nice playable position for us and for our opponent. But it's something to just be aware of with these triangles. You can hit a piece like that. It's very, very easy not to see it. So he's come back out. I think I'll just challenge for the center now. If he takes, our knight's protected. Okay, he does. So let's just take back. Okay, he's played bishop forward. He's doing a lot of odd moves with this bishop, not getting himself safe. He has stopped us going here, but we do have this move, or we can play bishop up and pin, threatening to push the pawn on. So here, if he pushes, we can take and break the structure up, but I've also got queen up as well, just hitting the pawn first, but I think I'm going to get adventurous and play the bishop up, because it does create a threat. So he can push his pawn, he can drop his bishop back, but his king is very undeveloped here. Oh, and he's walked into it. That can't be good. I mean, for a start, I can play knight in, and he can't take without losing the queen. So knight in is a threat. Can I play pawn up immediately? Now, if he moves the knight anywhere, we take the queen with a check. So he can't move his knight. If he, say, castles or rook across, we can gain a knight, lose a queen, gain a pawn, but he can actually retreat. So it doesn't actually quite work. So knight up has got to be the move. So pawn up doesn't quite work to rook across, or not immediately anywhere. So again, is it a move now? And then if he takes, we take here. I don't think it quite is. I do have queen up though, and he can't get his bishop back to guard. So I'm going to put more pressure on here. So now 3 attack it and only 2 defend it. And pawn up I can simply take. Probably just go with the queen and trade everything off and win a pawn. If we end up taking with the knight before the queen, he might be able to retreat and block. When he's castled, okay. So surely here I could just take with the knight. Then if pawn takes, bishop takes, and we're threatening to come in with a mate in 2. So the knight I think is the better move. If I go with the bishop and he takes, we can go in with the queen, and it still threatens a mate in 1, and he can't escape this way. So is it better to go with the bishop? Takes, queen takes, we threaten a back rank checkmate, he can't run. Actually, how does he block that if I go with the bishop? Because here, the knight covers this square, but it's the same if I go with the knight, but I need the extra move. So I'm going to go with the bishop. I don't think he can take back. I don't think he can afford to take back allowing the queen in, because the king can't escape either side. So we take and we threaten a checkmate. And I don't think he's got a defense without giving up the queen to give the king a square. He's very unfortunate there, and he's very unfortunate. Yeah, it doesn't help moving the rook because it's still a back rank checkmate in the corner. I think he has to play queen takes knight. I think it's the only move. So he's really, really unlucky to stumble into this. Okay, so he does see that he needs to give the queen up, so we'll take back. So we're threatening just to simply check up and check again here. It's effectively, we could still blunder the back rank mate or something silly could go wrong, but I think we just check here, up, check. What do you do here? And it's just mate, isn't it? So let's just check and check. As long as we don't do a horrible mouse slip and blunder the back rank, it could happen. He's only got the one move there. So now we throw a check in and we're going to bring the queen in. That should be checkmate again. He can technically block here, actually, can't he? Well, actually, he can. He can block with a bishop. I've missed there. So if I take, he wins my queen. So I could mix it up and take the piece, but there's no need to be silly. So let's drop the queen back. The bishop's in a nice pin, so we're going to win the bishop. It wasn't quite a checkmate. We're going to win the bishop, though. And then we'll get our bishop into place somehow, somewhere. Just make sure I don't blunder the back rank. That's the main thing. Okay, so he's attacked us. So I think we want to get our queen somewhere. Does it matter where? Let's go here. But I must push a pawn at some point so I don't blunder that one move back rank. Very, very easily done. Oh, that's the 4. I'll have to just briefly get that. My apologies, I just have to briefly answer the phone. So let's take the bishop with a check. I've just got to move this bishop or give my king an emergency square. It doesn't really matter how I do it. Okay, just take with a check. You can maybe go back or go forward here. So any tricks, This is where you've got to be careful, because rook across, I mean, I can take the 2, so I'm fine, but, so I could play a move like pawn of rook over, take, and we've got 2 rooks and a bishop against a bishop, so I'm just going to push the pawn up there. Okay, so now we just simply take and get his heavy pieces off the board. So we've got a bishop each and we've got 2 spare rooks and a pawn that we can run down the board. So let's just march this pawn. Okay, I'm just marching the pawn down. There's nothing wrong with him playing on, just in case we blunder a stalemate. It does happen. Just put the rook back onto a dark square. So the pieces are all on dark squares. Most of the pawns are. We're just going to run this pawn up and get rid of this bishop. And then it's a case of, can we find a way to deliver a checkmate? He's got to put his king in a position where he has to try and create a stalemate. He's made a mistake there. So now we can just cut his king off and come round. He should have put the king behind the pawn and try to be in a position where the king just can't move and there's no legal moves. Obviously the pawns can move, but we're just coming in for checkmate here. He's unfortunate here. It's unfortunate how it went wrong in the opening, but let's just see what it was in engine speak. So also we don't accidentally start another game. Then we just come back. So it's 35 moves. They're the move times for both players. So the opening is the Zuckertort opening, other variation. If you click on that, you'll get some puzzles to do. We just want to see if there's anything to learn from out the opening. That's for us and for our opponent as well. So we just see where the game turned. But it was just really early mistake, wasn't it? Early mistake. So 96 and 87, no actual bad blunders being flanked either side. Not many mistakes on either side either, so it's not bad. Not bad. Opponents played well, finding a lot of good moves from a struggling position. So here, so bishop e2 was good. So we played the opening okay. He should have played knight up instead of dropping the bishop back there. And then he moved his bishop again, didn't he? So he should have just taken the knight there. He moved his bishop again. d4 was good. And we're already 2.6 better in this position. At amateur level, that's not as easy to assess as it is at the more elite level. Not as critical. Now here, I should have pushed the pawn first to kick the knight instead of playing bishop up. I just went for simple ideas, simple chess. Queen up was a mistake blocking. Should have blocked with the bishop. So knight e5 was good. Queen f4 was good. Then taking with the bishop was good. And then we're coming in with this mate threat, and he had to give up his queen. And then that's where, you know, it's just a case of not blundering something really stupid now. But it does happen. There's nothing wrong with him playing on just in case. You know, you could do a simple mouse flip. I could go to take the rook there and drop the queen one square short. You know, things like that do happen. But then it's just a case of finding a way to convert. And in this position, he needs to keep his king in a position where he can try and run out of moves so he can play for a stalemate. But by pushing the pawn there, we can then cut the king off and just come in for a nice checkmate. So it is what it is, but not a bad effort there. So well done.